Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore holistic and alternative solutions for better health and wellness. And I am your host, Marsha. But before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button and be sure to subscribe. Now, as always, I love to start out with quotes. So I have a quote for you here today, which is, allow yourself to enjoy each happy moment in your life. There's no name for this person, but this is a quote. So allow yourself to enjoy each happy moment in life. And I love that because happiness is a choice, right? And so we choose if we are going to be happy or not. And it all starts with the way we think. But what we'll be talking about today is spring tips, right? Spring tips into our self-care for our wellness. So as we move into spring, which we already started, spring actually began on March 20th, I believe, according to Google. And so for those of you who live in the season areas, you may or may not be experiencing some not so much spring weather, right? Like here in Ohio, right? It's been raining. It's been cold. It's very sunny and nice. We had some heavy rains. Actually, it was some heavy rains, like a monsoon the other night. It was pouring. But the weather has not been the greatest. We had a few days where it was nice, but not so great. Not so great. But we appreciate every moment. So let's move on into spring. So when we talk about spring and self-care, what are some things that we can do, right, to improve our physical as well as our mental health, right? And so one of the things is that we can do as we move into spring and as we are moving on along with spring is to start practicing movement, right? Start practicing movement, taking little walks in the park, which is what I wanted to do today, actually, but I may have to just use the treadmill instead. It's like 35 degrees out. May change my mind, I don't know. But exercise, as we know, that is vital for maintaining our good health, right? And reducing chronic illnesses such as heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. And we need to find time, even on your break, you can take a walk, maybe around the building, however your thing is set up. And some people have the luxury of having gyms. So if you work in an environment where you have access to a gym, start using it, right? It is a good way to start practicing, getting into those good habits of practicing movement. So another thing that we can do is to nourish our body. And how do we do that? How do we nourish our body is by staying hydrated, of course, right? Not with sugary drinks, not with especially soda, not with soda, but by drinking water, right? By drinking water. And we should always try to start out by drinking a glass of warm water or room temperature water in the morning. All right. And so what this does is to help stimulates digestion. It enhances gut movement. And it helps to break down those fats when you are eliminating the food that you have eaten. So having a balanced diet is important. And so, of course, you want to incorporate your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains and lean proteins should be included into your meals. Avoiding processed foods, of course, sugary drinks, which I've already mentioned. Try avoiding those things as much as possible. And If you are someone who love eggs like myself, you may want to consider, if you notice that you may have experienced joint pain and things like that, you may want to cut back on consuming eggs regularly. Now, everybody's body is different, right? So that's why it's so important to learn and understand your body. So if you are someone like myself who love eggs, and you experience a lot of joint pain and things like that, you may need to reduce your intake of eggs. And why? And that is because it contains omega-6. And as you know, when you consume too much omega-6 over omega-3s, it causes, guess what? Inflammation, right? So if you already suffer from joint pain, that can increase more joint pain. All right, so that is what you need to do on that. So now, staying nourishing, staying hydrated, drinking as much water as possible, and you may want to even add some lemon to your water, right? And so if you're always on a run, you can add some lemon to, a lot of people carry their big jugs, a gallon of water, and they have their lemons. It's great to do that because lemon is actually alkaline. And so that is good for you, and it helps you to lose weight, right? And you're drinking the alkaline water. So another thing is taking care of your skin. That is very important, right? So you want to that's why you have to stay hydrated, and you need to moisturize your skin. Moisturizing your skin with the not so thickened moisturizers, but there's one which is the one that's great for the winter time, but you definitely don't want to use it. You can tell the difference because it's very good. I can see the Eucerin. Eucerin is a thick moisturizer, right? And it's great for dry skin in the winter. But you don't want to use a heavy moisturizer as we're moving into spring. You want something that's pretty much just laid enough to keep the skin moisturized. And as far as for your face, you want to use gentle cleansers for your face. Neutrogena has a lot of nice products. I'm not any affiliated with any of the products that I mentioned, make Neutrogena or anything like that. I'm just mentioning things that I've used that I know that have worked well for your skin. And of course, use your own favorite brands that you like that works best for you. Okay, and you also want to make sure that you wear sunscreen, right? Sunscreen protection, SPF 30. You want to make sure that you keep your skin protected from the rays of the sun. So vitamin D is important, right? But we also want to protect our skin also. So getting our vitamin D from the sun is great, but we also still need to protect our skin. And so moving on to the next thing, prioritizing your mental health. So when we look at mental health, right? Mental health is just as important as physical health, right? So when we don't feel good, mentally, we don't feel good. When we don't feel good in our bodies, mentally, we don't feel well as well, because, it makes us feel down and, you don't feel well. So when it comes to mental health, you want to make sure that you do things that is in the best practice and what's important for the things that matter for you. And whatever some of those things are for you, you would know best what they are. And so being able to honor your yeses as well as your nos when you feel like you are becoming stretched too thin. And so you don't want to overwork yourself, right? You always want to maintain some type of harmony, I like to say. You always want to make sure that you maintain some type of harmony because it's important. And so one way that we can practice improving our mental health is doing things such as breathing exercises, which helps to get more oxygen to the brain, as well as relaxes you. And in addition to that, practicing meditation, whether it's at night before you go to bed, or whatever time that it fits it, maybe even on your lunch break. You know your schedule. You know what works best for you. So practicing simple, you can find a great way to find a way to do your meditation or even journaling, right? Journaling is great for the mental health. It's a great way for you to release whatever you may be feeling at that moment and writing it out. It's a way of releasing it. And so that is good as well. Of course, I mentioned exercise, whether you're practicing Tai Chi, yoga, any type of some type of movement, that is important. So what is the next thing else that is important that we need to practice when it comes to our self-care, right? Is sleep. Sleep is very important. And so, of course, experts recommend 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but some people can function off of 6 hours of sleep, right? Such as myself, I can function off of 6 hours of sleep. So that is important as well. So the best time to go to sleep, you don't want to eat right before bed, right? And I've done it, so I don't recommending that. So I've done it before. So you don't want to eat right before you go to bed, but after you eat, you want to have set a time schedule for when you eat, and then allowing yourself time for food to digest. Maybe you could stay up and watch a little TV or whatever it is that you do, or make it a great time to exercise, meditate, whatever. You want to make sure that you set yourself up in a routine that allows you to relax, right? That puts you in that state of relaxation, or maybe even reading a book, or taking a warm bath, or sipping on a cup of tea. Some nights I may have some tea before I go to bed. And so that's making sure that you get enough sleep. That is very important when it comes to your wellness and your self-care. So the next thing I want to move on to is gratitude, right? Gratitude is very important. And so why is gratitude very important? Because this allows us, practicing gratitude allows us to appreciate what we have, right? Appreciate the current situation, appreciate being able to wake up in the morning, right? Appreciate those things. And so what are some ways that we can do that by practicing gratitude? Well, and the first thing you could do in the morning when you wake up, you can say it out loud or in your head, is thank you. Thank you for being able to wake up, right? Thank you to the creator of all for allowing you to wake up. So, and another thing is you can ask yourself, what are some things I'm grateful for today? What are 3 to 5 things that you can say that you are grateful for? And if you value those things, you wouldn't have a problem of finding the things that you appreciate and that you are thankful for. So you may want to do that. During the winter months, many people experience seasonal depression, right? And so people experience these seasonal depression, and some people have, special light that they use, or may be on medication or whatever reason, maybe during that time, or whatever the solution that they have come up with to help them during those times of their seasonal depression in the winter months. But now, as we move on to spring, we want to feel more vitalized and energized, right? And we want to feel like we are moving forward, which we are, because every day that you wake up is a chance to move forward and to do better. So what are some of those things, right? I mentioned gratitude, but what about making time for yourself? What about making time for yourself to do the things that you want to do, not doing the things that you have to do or because it's a necessity that you need to do it, but something that you just want to do, right? Making that time for yourself, whether it's to treat yourself to the spa, whether it's learning a new hobby that you like. Maybe you love art. Maybe you love drawing or crocheting or whatever it is. Making time for yourself to enjoy the things that you like outside of work, outside of being a mom, outside of being a wife or whatever, or a caregiver, to your parents. Outside of that, making time for yourself. And this is why I say that it's important. We all need to provide ourselves with ways to survive, right? By working, having your business, whatever it is that we do. We all need money to survive, right? In this world, because this is how the world functions, right? You have a service or a trade, and you get paid for those services and trade. But outside of that, what do we want outside of that, right? We all want to find things that brings us joy and fulfillment and happiness. So that's why it is important to make that special time for yourself and not get caught up in work, right? So we need that special time. And that's why I also recommended, like I mentioned in the one of the previous podcasts on taking your vacations, right? How important that is and the health benefits that comes along with taking a vacation, right? So that is important. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is building strong relationships. Okay, building strong relationships. And that can be either with your coworkers, your family or friends, any one of those people, and meeting new people, right? And meeting new people is amazing, especially when you are traveling and you end up meeting people of different cultural backgrounds and things like that. And you can have a conversation and learn more about that culture, that person, that individual, and you will come to see that sometimes, oh my gosh, you guys may have so much more in common, and it's so interesting. It's what you can say. That's what, even though we are different, we're still the same. We may look different, we may speak a little different, but we all share the same thing as far as everyone just wants to be happy, right? And live the best life that they can live as possible. So that's important. That is important. There, prioritizing your self-care is not something that's just a necessity. It's not just something, that it's a luxury, right? I meant to say luxury. It's not just something that you say it's a luxury that, you can't afford to do this or whatever. No, there's no price on that. There's no price. What price do you put on your health? And that's the question. So what price do you put on your health when it comes to prioritizing your self-care and your wellness? Another thing I like to mention, right, as we move on into spring, what's some things that you can, and I guess this would be something that you say, make time for yourself. Some people may find that to be something that they may want to do. What about using this time to start to clear up, right? Clear the clutter. That's another one. Clearing up the clutter. Clearing up the clutter in your environment, whether that could be at work on your desk, whether that's at home, whether it's in your car, whatever it is, clear up the clutter. So for one of the things for your spring is, that's why they call it spring cleaning, right? Clear the clutter. Clear the clutter. And you will notice that, I know for me, clutter, I can function with a lot of clutter and disorganization in my head. It's like, if I'm somewhere where it's a lot of clutter and everything, that's how it is in my brain. So everything is in my brain is cloudy and bunched up. No, stuff has to be cleared and organized for me to function. So that's how my brain works. So clear the clutter. Maybe you can start to redecorate, right? Change those winter curtains into your spring curtains. Change your bathroom. People change their themes, their rooms and bathrooms and things when it comes to the seasons. So maybe you can do that, give it a fresh new look. You may want to do something like that, but that's important. All of these things that I mentioned is important for your wellness as we move along into spring. So let's just do a recap of those things, right? So what is one of the things that I mentioned was to get moving, right? To exercise. And of course, you can do this stuff all the time, of course, all throughout the year. But as we are in spring, and for some reason, like springtime, and feel like, okay, it's like you are getting a chance. You're moving out of winter now. You're moving out of that where it's cold and not so great weather and snow, right? Maybe you're in your areas where it's cold and snowy, a lot of snow, and we're moving into now going to get into warmer weather, more sunny days and sunshine. That's another way that helps us too with our mood, right? Just when it's not so cloudy and dark, outside, you want to be somewhere where it's nice and sunny, right? These things help it impact your mood as well. All right, so get moving, nourishing your body. That was number 2, nourishing your body, staying hydrated, eating a well-balanced meal, more healthier whole foods, right? More healthier whole foods, avoiding the processed foods, things that all of this already. So you just need to do it, right? Doing those things, taking care of your skin. It's so important, taking care of your skin. It's important in the wintertime too, but it's also important in the summer months as well, making sure that we take care of our skin. That is important, nourishing our skin, protecting our skin as we move on into spring, because before you know it, summer will be here, right? And prioritizing our mental health, right? Doing those things that's important for us to have our mental sharpness and our mental ability to be working in the best positive way, where we are not feeling the moments of the stress and the anxiety or depression and all those things that make us unwell. We need to find the things that makes us well. And getting enough sleep was number 5, right? Getting enough sleep. Making sure that you do that. You know your body better than anyone. 7 to 8 hours of sleep recommended, but for those who can operate off of 6 hours of sleep, if that works for you and it doesn't impact you, fine, as long as you are making sure that you get enough sleep. Practicing gratitude was number 6, right? Making sure that you practice gratitude, waking up in the morning and saying, thank you. And what am I grateful for today? 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for today. Maybe you may want to put those things in a journal. Making time for yourself was number 7, right? Finding something that you love, doing what you want to do, not because you have to do it, but something that you truly enjoy. Number 8 was building those strong relationships with family and friends, meeting new people. How exciting is that, meeting new people? Doing things that where you can meet someone else and connect with. That's so important, right? So we can connect. There's a lot of things that we do online, but what is that human connection of really actually being around someone and interacting is the best, the greatest connection you could ever have with a person. And the last thing that I mentioned was that spring cleaning, clear the clutter. Clear the clutter, clear your mind, right? That's how it works for me. Clear the clutter. So those are the simple tips that I had for you for this episode. I hope you stay tuned to next week. If you like this episode, please, again, be sure to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.